Right. After several days of there not, or more actually, of there not being a proper dialogue between my mom and I, she texts all of a sudden out of the blue, boom. First of all, and this is in response to the issue of sitting down for one therapy session together. Not so I could talk about problems to the therapist, so I could tell the therapist what the fuck they're doing wrong. Okay. But she writes, I will arrange therapist next week. Okay, boom, good. Looks like a good message, fine. What day is good for you? Good, very easy, amazing, right? This is the right direction. Also, by the end of next week, I will be done with videos and answers. What does she mean by answers? She's accusing me of saying anything false about her on my videos. I'm saying it's not true. But she sticks to her guns and says, "Oh no, he's saying things that aren't real. They're false." This is a typical tactics that wrongdoers do. Nevertheless, she's put to the test and says, "Okay, what's false?" For 2+ weeks, she couldn't identify what's false about what was said. That's suspicious. If you are somebody who has had false things said about you, and you go online and you open a fucking video and you're hearing things being said about you, and you hear things that you're immediately are not true, you know what is not true. It's at the tip of your tongue, stapled there permanently forever. Anybody could ask you, wait, what did he say? It's not true. You would immediately say, da this and that. It's right there, that thing. That's not true. It would be immediate. I texted my mom saying, what's not true? What's not true? I don't know. Some things are not true. Some things are not true. These vague, just something's not right. Huh? That alone right there is suspicious. So that's not going to fly, okay? That already raises red flags. Now, the point is, nevertheless, she's watching a set of videos. She hasn't even completed the full set of videos. But she said that she's set to complete it by the end of next week. Well, today's Saturday night, so we'll have all of this upcoming week, and Saturday, very good. And then answers too. So basically she's watching and looking to reply and prepare her response to what's said in those videos, so that what? So, quote, I'm reading now, we could arrange something for next weekend to explain everything. You see that there? Very nice. What's the reasonable import of that, by the way? When you're a normal human being, what's the reasonable interpretation the reasonable human being gets when you read this? You say, oh yeah, she's saying she'll be done by videos answers next week, so that we could arrange something for next weekend. What does that mean? It means next weekend. Oh, okay. After next weekend or next weekend? Next weekend. Oh, okay. For what? To explain everything and arrange something. That sounds like someone who's reasonably what? Looking to have a meeting with you next weekend. Well, that's obvious. Anyone looking at this would agree. Say, yeah, that's obviously the reasonable import of the words that are being used here in English. That's the impression that you are conveying. That's the correct representation of these words. The meaning of it. Yes. So in the next, what do I say back to this? Good. Anthony agreed to sit with us next Sunday. Between when she wrote this, 4:13 and 5:34, as soon as I got this text, I'm going to work contacting Anthony, saying, yeah, here's the new update. We're going to do the thing. We're all getting ready. We're doing work on our end. Anthony has to watch these videos too. He's looking to be prepared. Yeah. I don't even remember if I'm right. I'm making this message to Anthony or to anyone else. I think I'm saying this to Anthony. Okay. I will arrange therapist next week. Oh, I read this already. And then I say, good. So Anthony agreed to sit with us next Sunday. Boom. That means I read this, reasonably took care of the arrangement. See, arrange something? Yes, so I arranged it. And what did I arrange? Something reasonable. What's it called? A meeting with a person and third party. So it's a community meeting. That's excellent. That's the most ideal framework that there could be for resolving an interpersonal issue within any community. Okay? We'll meet at Whole Foods, 2nd Avenue, and discuss there for the afternoon, 12 to 4 p.m. What went into this decision? Well, it's an offer at least. You can counter offer reasonably by saying maybe you like a different place or something else. But at the end of the day, it's got to be workable and it can't be offensive. If Whole Foods does work because a park down the block works better, that's all fine. But if you're saying something else or trying to make a different kind of change that makes people go, huh? That ain't right. That's called immoral. That's called inconsiderate. That's called offense. That's what in a Judeo-Christian value system, you strive to do not that. You strive to go towards people and not away from them. Okay. So as for the therapist, any day works. Now, mind you, the framework here is that we're going to be arranging with the therapist first, and then, because of the timing, the therapist is one day during the week, and then the weekend is for the meeting with another person. So with Anthony, yeah. So I'm responding here. As for the therapist, any day works, and I'm specifying. Look, she might get the wrong idea. So at all times, it's important to clarify, lest you leave anyone with misunderstandings or misinterpretations. Not good, not ideal or desirable. As for the therapist, any day works, really. I only want to meet, just to make it clear, one initial time for now, and to meet only within a limited capacity, and it'll be made very clear what that capacity is as soon as I'm in front of the therapist and I'm saying what the capacity is. Always remember, a creditor always controls the jurisdiction in order to address certain issues, and that's what I said. I want to respond very certain, specific, clear, but limited issues, and then that's it. And then that is all that needs to be discussed. And then I'm going to stand up and get out and say, whenever there is a need for additional services, we'll reconvene whenever I'm willing. And until that point comes, no. Okay? What's the context in which this is happening? Remember, we're dealing with a narcissistic mother and a scapegoated son. A narcissistic mother who's controlling the son and wants to make all the decisions for him. The correct moral answer to this is not have the son and expect him to continue to have no will and to be this jello, and to have a mother come in and let her dictate the terms, let her force the demands, or it must be so. That's the insanity. No. So morality looks like we come in and correct that, reverse it, and show the problem person why that way of acting is problematic, and why in this world, in this value system, under this moral law, you don't do that. Uphold the correct moral law, and everybody wins. Next, here's what she says. I prefer if we meet via phone or Zoom for a couple of hours. We could do that on 2 different days if you want. I will try to bring the therapist to these meetings if possible. See, she thinks that this is going to be therapy sessions. I said many times over and over in writing, there are no therapy sessions. And you have no legal or moral right to ever compel or coerce someone into accepting some kind of service that they don't want to accept. Who are you? A psychologist? No. A psychotherapist? A psychiatrist? Then you have no legal or moral or ethical right to coerce someone to do something such that you withdraw something that you morally owe someone if they don't do the thing you want, which they have a legal and moral right to refuse. You see who the real problem person is? That's clear. So here she keeps trying to recontrol the frame again by saying, "Oh, in the delusion again. Oh yes, we're doing therapy now, right, son?" No, moron. 2 different days. Bring the therapist to both. It's all fucking mind-numbingly confusion. It's all confusion. Mind-numbingly confused. If the man said it once, it's like perma-rule. You have no ability to chisel out the raw from the stone. It's imprinted permanently. I have spoken. Now bow. Fucking idiots. The fuck? So I already made it clear I'm not participating in therapy sessions. So when I do come out and say I want to speak to the therapist, I was clear with my words. And Anthony's the one conveying them for me, but many times it's been clarified. We know how to preserve the substance of what's said. The words change a little bit, but the substance is kept clear. That if I ask my friend Anthony to say, well, let my mom know such and such for me, because I don't want to talk to her myself. It's beneath me at this point to speak to this fucking person directly. It's disgusting to me to deal with this crap. So I say, let it be known, I want to speak to the therapist directly, but it's for a limited purpose only. So the mom found out it's for a limited purpose only, and that it's not therapy, but I'm not there to speak to the therapist about the family problems. I'm there to speak to the therapist about the therapist. That was made clear. But here's the reframing now on the screen. It's all about making it clear. So first of all, what's my problem with this? The first problem is, if you are somebody who has to deal with interpersonal issues a lot, you're going to know one thing. You're going to realize one thing, especially if you're like a highly, high EQ kind of modality. You don't do a Zoom meeting with a person who you could be meeting with in person if you have serious things to talk about. You do a Zoom meeting for a presentation. You do a Zoom meeting maybe for academics. You do a Zoom meeting when it's a pandemic outside and you're quarantined. You don't do a Zoom meeting because it's just a convenient option. Not when there's egos and interpersonal issues and real issues like this on the line. Okay, there's things you can see in the person in front of you, like micro signals that convey very key information that help people naturally guide their conversations in a much better way than you could guide it if you're on Zoom, because you can't get all the information through a Zoom call. Hell, honestly, look, not only are there bunches of people online complaining about how Zoom sucks, everybody hates it. Everybody hates Zoom. Even phone conversations are better than Zoom. Honestly, even a phone conversation feels more real. You just don't have the person to look at. It's weird. With Zoom, it's like rigid. I've done Zoom before. Everybody almost has done it. It's so like rigidified. It's not a real interpersonal thing. So it's barely good enough for work, maybe barely okay for school, maybe. It's not good enough for interpersonal things. The only reason the industry legally accepts it is because it's legally accepted. So they offer it like it's a fad. It's not a fad that anybody. You're not doing the deepest work properly. And this is so serious, and it's nuanced, okay? There's sophistication to the shit and the level of problem solving that has to be applied to the complex problem that it's not suitable for Zoom. All right? Mind you, when a person's coming up, and a wrongdoer is coming up to the person they wronged, looking to repent, home turf and who makes the rules and how it's done is up to the person who you're approaching, who was the one who was originally wronged or offended. Everybody knows this. So I clarify, I say, well, look, I'll be open to doing a Zoom call or a phone call with the therapist. That would be good enough, because that's not a complex issue. To the therapist, and for that paradigm, in 5, 10, 15 minutes or more, or about as long, is good enough. It doesn't need to be in person. with a Zoom or with a phone, I could convey the same substance that could be conveyed and executed the same as if it was in person or over the virtual phone. No problem. But I go on. But for the in-person meeting on Sunday with Anthony, which in-person meeting on Sunday? The one that was referred to implicitly by the, quote, could arrange something for next weekend to explain everything, quote. I'm not making it up. I'm going off what she came at me with. So obviously it will not be sufficient to do a virtual meeting. Only in-person meeting with a witness. That's for two reasons. Number one, so that I could feel safe, because the worst thing for me, what horror is for me, is when I'm interacting with my mom on a one-to-one basis, and I know that I'm right, but she won't accept that I'm right, and I have no one else there to witness the fact that I'm right. So she just continues to gaslight because she could get away with it one-on-one because no one's there to stop the bullshit. I hate that. So therefore, to me, it's safe when I have people around. Because anyone collectively together, we're all collectively seeing with one eye. Look, you can't hide from our big eye now. We are the eye of God. See, it's overpowering you. You have no chance, moron. No other format will be acceptable. If you're, and rightfully so, this isn't academics. This isn't a business service. This is sit down with your family. There's nothing else in this world. You have family and your blood family. That's it. Everything else is secondary. If you're serious about having talks, then in person with a witness is the only way that will work. That is a fact. It's true. It's not as safe for me and as safe for her. So some woman coming down, sitting with me, well, it doesn't matter. See, I'm your son. So the safety for the person in her position should not even be an issue. So it would be ridiculous. Like, come on, that's your son. Grow the fuck up. If you ain't willing to sit down with your son, you have a problem. And the problem is yours, not his. It doesn't originate with him if you're not willing to sit down with your son. Okay? You don't deserve to have a son. You don't deserve to be connected with your son if you aren't willing to sit down with your son. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, a self-fulfilling punishment. It's self-enacting suffering. Good. Be further cut off from your own line. Morons. Right? Or, if you're willing to resolve, do the work correctly. Submit. Bow your head. Come reverently, bow, and submit to the correct power. That's how you show respect. Okay, so. Oh, Dawn sent me a message. All right, we'll talk to Dawn later. See, I have some action on these wonderful apps. That's wonderful. Okay. If you're serious about having talks, then in person with a witness is the only way that will work. Pause this real quick. All right, we're resuming now. Yeah, Anthony's ready, and I'm ready. Two men are ready to sit down and do the thing. Okay? The only thing is that I have one or two more videos to upload. That's correct. I have a few more things that need to be discussed and uploaded. I still haven't uploaded it. It's as much volume as there is up right now. 12+ hours, and if you count some older playlists from a year ago, it's like 24 hours or more. Still doesn't end. Goes more and more. I'm thankful for everybody in this world, please, and thank you. That everybody, I thank God and thank all my friends for all the support I have. And they'll be uploaded to the playlist this week, I say. All right. As my mom's going to look to finish them this week, I got to do my job and have my end taken care of. Okay, so Anthony's viewing everything in the playlist as well. So there's full understanding of the matters by everyone who's present there. We're doing our work. Where are you? So when you refuse me once, you get corrected. Okay? If you refuse me twice, as George W. Bush said, you won't fool me again. All right? You guys know what I'm talking about. Again, she reiterates, no, idiot, wrong move. She didn't get her brain prompts programmed correctly from the birth. Something happened. What the fuck? It's like watching someone play chess where they don't know how to play chess. No. You know what a real better analogy is? If you're playing cards, like Texas Hold'em or just some kind of poker, if you have somebody at the table who doesn't know how to play, they're not just worse. Like if someone's playing chess but they're bad, they're not more dangerous. They're just easy to defeat. Okay? A bad poker player, he doesn't just fuck himself up. He fucks the whole game up with everybody. And he becomes dangerous for everybody. His ineptitude, his not knowing what the fuck he's doing, he randomly puts up cards and picks down cards and randomly says he'll call or he'll stop or he'll do whatever. He'll go further. It disrupts everything. It's a damage to everyone because then no one can read you correctly because you're breaking the rules of what's expected of you because you don't even know what's expected of you. It fucks everything up. It's very card players know what I'm talking about. Okay, because I know what I'm talking about because I was that guy. You see what I'm saying? And then I learned a little bit more years ago, and I played just a little bit. And I said, okay, I think I get it, but then you also understand, like what I was doing before. It's like that screws me, but then it screws them because they don't even know what to do with me, and that fucks everything. So it's not good. Well, she writes back again, dumbly. No, I'm open to phone or Zoom meetings this week. She's just repeating herself. No. Here's the offense. If I, with my male sovereign mind, told you with higher level knowledge what the fuck the correct answer is, for you with a lower brain to repeat the same thing is therefore insulting to me. If you're insulting to me, that's called offense. So now is the rebuke. The cycle never ends. I'm open to phone or Zoom meeting, this and this, but you didn't provide a reason as to why what I said should be overturned with an additional consideration that you provide, new to the table for us to look at. That's what a normal person would do. No. Instead of that, we only have dumb, low-level repeating. This is the fucking problem. So let's take a close look and scrutinize what she's saying. I'm open to phone or Zoom meeting this and next week with the therapist. With the therapist means now it's changed again. See how every time a woman speaks, the representation subtly changes, and she pretends that the previous thing wasn't even in existence. Very funny. Everyone knows this is true. It's how it is. It's very weird. So now all of a sudden magically self-warped into being it's about with the therapist for now only? Meeting in person for later. You mean later beyond next weekend? No, wait a minute. Lady, you said today at 4:13 p.m., and I've played this game already before, quote, so we could arrange something for next weekend in order to explain everything. Huh? What does that mean in English? You see it? That is what was said. Boom. Iron. Boom. You get it, freaks? You don't understand? Live by your words or suffer. It's the karmic law everywhere in life. That's why people have horrors in their lives. Bad karma everywhere in their lives because they just... It's all disintegration, and they don't even realize it's disintegration. It's just mindlessness. I say today, hey, we could... She said, first I point out to her. First you have to point out the hypocrisy when the hypocrite comes to speak with hypocrisy. Lady, you first said we could arrange something for next weekend. Then you said, I'm open to meetings with the therapist for now. Meetings that are in person, which involve discussions and explanations, are for later than next weekend. So you're saying two separate contradictory things. These are two different messages in substance and in spirit, and pretty much in form. The import of those two messages is what's wildly different. That's the thing I'm looking to highlight. They convey and communicate two completely different representations and impressions. Why are you saying contradictory or inconsistent things, firstly? And secondly, you are wrong to deny me an in-person meeting. Regardless of what you said or didn't say, I said we will be meeting now, and that should be good enough too on its own damn legs, is what respect is. For an in-person meeting is the only suitable manner by which to discuss familial or interpersonal issues that have arisen to the level of seriousness as they are here, for sure. I am available only for an in-person meeting. And that remains true. I'm not hosting any Zoom calls today or any other damn day, unless for good cause as I determine, based on grounds, not nothing. I'm available only for an in-person meeting, and as you yourself originally said, next weekend, to explain everything. Next weekend was the time that was subsequently arranged for by me. Now, to say something different all of a sudden is inconsiderate and disrespectful. True. The thing to do, I have to give the moral cue. So the facts are this. Here's what you did wrong and why it's wrong. And then this is some wonderful advice that people have given me in life. I've had a lot of arguments with a lot of different people in life, a lot of people, but I'll tell you, of the ones that I won over eventually, a particular proportion of that group was won over when I took the care to make the extra step of saying, here's what the proper situation should have looked like. And then I'll paint and reenact what it should have been. I think that part is obvious from the word go. But the whole time I'm talking, it's like they're yapping away about their stuff. I know they're wrong. And for reasons that are beyond the scope of this video, I had a lot of research chemicals upregulate a lot of receptors that put me into a particular special position to evaluate more clearly than an average human being. We could say fairly so-and-so. And I've shown the IQ fucking charts and all that. It's not a delusion, okay? When I say something, I have a particular reputation developed among other people around me that, man, when John says something, he fucking is right a scary proportion of the time. Compared to the average person, they're right like half the time. You can almost bet money on what John says. I'm not kidding you, that's what people have said. Yes, it's true. But not everyone believes it, though. That's the thing. It's okay. People farther out don't believe it. The closer you get to me, the more you start seeing it, the more it shocks you. That's it. Okay? Now, next. The thing to do when your adult son invites you to sit, like I'm speaking to somebody who's autistic, to sit down in person to a kind of community meeting in order to resolve issues. It's not to assume that they're going to be dangerous and that your son's crazy. So treat him like he's going to be some kind of crazy fucking person. Well, is he going to get up and attack me? She didn't even say any of this, but it's implied. That's the reason this is problematic. Because she's not showing correct reverence for her son. You understand what reverence is? See, fear alone is fear. Respect, of course, is respect, but reverence is a beautiful English word because it mixes the two together. A reverence is a kind of, it's that respect, but not just the dry respect. It's the respect with the flavor in it. You understand? Respect with the naturally sown fear, but like the good fear, the right kind of fear, the fear one has of his father, and it's admiration fear. Okay? That's what woman in nature and in the old traditions is commanded. Well, in nature, happened naturally, and in furthermore early civilization, it was still there. Then we came along with the chemicals so far that we undid it all, sadly. Okay, and for other reasons too, all beyond the scope of this video. But regardless, reverence is the key element you're supposed to carry and bear and live within in how you treat a man. When you act in any way towards a man, you give him respect, but not just respect. You are reverent of him. So, first of all, it's disrespectful to decline an invitation. Second of all, if you had reverence, you would be meeting. Fear's okay. Every woman should fear every man. Not the unhealthy fear. No. And men can take responsibility for that. If a man does something wrong, there are men in this life who do things wrong. It's possible that the wrong kind of fear can be had for a man, and that fear it disintegrates the quality of the relationship between those two people. It does not increase it. The kind of fear I mean is that inborn, that ingrained element of fear that's part of the overall larger structure and an element that is reverence. So what I mean most fully thereby is that every woman should have reverence for every man. It's like every man should have love for every woman. That and the whole beautiful circle is complete. Nobody's going to have any problems. And the minute they come up, they're solved like that because they're in their correct modes. Men, have love for your women always. With all women within the community. All women, have reverence for all men within your community. As they love you, as you're revering them, as they're loving you. You see the cycle? So it's self-protective. Everybody is beautifully protected. Everyone wins. Well, it's a first step. In today's world, it's usually, well, not even in today's world. They say that Eve was the first one to break away in sin. Even in today's dynamics, it's correct. With eyes that can see, and boy, let me tell you, they could see. Today's world, almost always, it's woman who does the first immoral break. And then the man will respond in kind. Well, not in kind. I'm saying the man will correctly rebuke, but then under the false light, that's not a rebuke. That's male patriarchy aggressive. So then the woman thinks she's justified to continue further abuse, but actually in the correct eyes, that's just further abuse unjustified. So then the man correctly rebukes at a higher level. So the lens determine the context, determines the correct evaluation of everything you see in reality. You need to put on the correct lenses. 1 degree shift when you're sending a rocket to the moon, it's going to be a rocket to the moon or a rocket to another galaxy. Okay? The slightest change in the first domino angle makes a completely different course, and every other level and step become, oh, that's different. Oh, that's different. Oh, that's different. Oh. Complete reprogramming of your brain. Complete. It starts from the first step. Respect and love. The thing to do when your adult son invites you to sit down in a kind of community meeting is to accept this invitation and not to give me an implicit insult by representing substantively to me that you are not willing to sit down in person with me. And kind of, yeah, this guy's right. Kind of message. Why would I want to interact with her? Look at the opposite message. If I go, okay, we'll do Zoom. Idiotic. What's the message that's sending? It means I accept that the judgment she's making about me is correct. That it's okay to signal to me that I'm not worthy to be sat down nearby in person by her. Why the fuck would I ever say that's cool? I don't agree that I'm a monster. You see, dumbass? I agree you're wrong. Always control the context correctly. What controls context? Both morality and clear vision of the actual facts as they happen. Funny thing, tell you what, people who don't have good morality, they also don't have good eyes to see objective facts themselves in reality. You could test this with scientific tests online. I've done this all over the place. Did you know that people who hold a certain political belief fail certain logical tests way more often than people who hold other political beliefs? Did you realize those political beliefs are correlated with other mind neurological settings too? I've mapped all of it out, guys. Trust me. You don't know the thing until you start listening to me. Just get it. Now, I make sure to state, that is disgusting what you're doing and severely insulting to me. Therefore, it's offensive to me. You are therefore wrong for this. You are expected to change your mind. There will be a meeting that takes place either way next Sunday, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at 2nd Avenue Whole Foods. And in another video I've done that I've placed into this series already, I may or may not have uploaded that part yet. I'm trying to remember. Either way, it's going to come up and it's going to be in the series, if it isn't already. We derive the correct yin-yang balance and elemental moral frameworks from we don't have to look only to the far east from China and Asia to find the yin-yang chi balances. No. Look in the Torah. Look in the Torah. Yeah, look in the books, look in Proverbs. Look at the whole thing from front cover to back cover. Doesn't matter if you read from left to right or right to left. It says the same thing, just about. It is grace. It is a gracious woman that attains honor, but a ruthless man. Who obtains his riches and his successes. 2 different modes of behavior for each of the 2 genders is what gets you the win. Nobody respects a dry, overbearing woman. No one thinks that's the greatest version of you there could be. No. I think it sucks. But for a man who's the same way, it's kind of like, he's weak. That also sucks. People respect strong men and soft, warm, and comforting women. So if you're not the role, it's like, you understand, honey is sweet, and, sour berries are sour, okay? Or tart berries are tart or bitter. You can't, you understand what I'm saying, okay? No one likes fish when it's mixed with milk, all right? People like milk for its milk qualities and fish for its fish qualities. But you can't mix the 2 meals together and make a fish milk blended fucking smoothie and drink it and be happy. Okay? So a woman being a bitch don't make no one happy. You see that? And a man not having a spine don't make no one happy. We rely on men to be firm. We rely on women to be easy. You see? So I'm doing my role. Everybody else, you better do yours. Do theirs. You should all do theirs. Okay. It sounds kind of like, in some way the things I say sound too complex. In other ways, they sound too simple. Yet it's exactly right. And I promise you adjust it, you upregulate your GABA B receptor density. It'll be like, oh, shit. He was right. I can't even tell you how many stories I've had with the smartest people in the world I know. They're the only ones who acknowledge to me that I'm smarter than they are. But the dumber you are from me, the stupider you think I am from you. It's all inversion. If you are there, the meeting will be with you, where you will be able to defend and explain yourself. If you do not come, then it will be a meeting about you. Or we will discuss the charges anyway. See? And find that in the case that you're absent, we'll make all the conclusions that are fit to make about somebody who isn't showing up. You think when courts run trials when the defendant isn't present, or in a civil suit when the party don't show up? You get the chance to place in favorable things about yourself? No, the only evidence we'll have is the evidence that showed up that day. So everything you do when it's a wrong thing, it works against you. Never forget, and all wrongdoings must be met with strict and immediate punishment. Don't forget. Then we will upload this also onto YouTube, of course, because it will be recorded so that a record of the meeting is available, is in existence. We're not going to have somebody there hired who's taking meeting minutes for us, writing things down with one of those stenographers or whatever. That's ridiculous. No, we just have we can record the meeting, and anyone could listen to the meeting to find out what happened and what was said. Wonderful. So I say, finally, it's better that you come. Okay? Trust me, when an adult man speaks, that's the lawgiver. I've said this over and over again, and every correct moral, religious, foundational, societal, civilizational structure holds this to be true. But either way will be good. You see, when I follow God's way, I turn to the Bible, the Torah, the Tanakh, and the New Testament to get all the godly principles to guide your life. It's like magic. Up. He makes it so that I win either way. And that's really how it is at the end of the day. And I've seen this clear. I've seen this turn out in life. When you play this game long enough, you get to sit and watch for the results. You know what things work, what things don't work. You slowly refine your processes over time to drop the things that don't work, to place extra stress on the things that do work. Years and years of an actively refined process draws me closer and closer to a process that reflects accurately more and more so, with higher levels of fidelity, more and more so over time. The process is written of in the Bible. Wow. It's like those people spent entire lifetimes and generations doing the same thing that I am, and then writing down what worked. Okay? So there we are.